Unlike fanny packs, bowl cuts, and troll dolls, the sensation is back, only at Zaxby's. The Sensation Salad and the new Sensation Filet Sandwich features hand-breaded chicken, Asian slaw, wonton strips, and citrus vinaigrette, and both are served with an egg roll. The Sensation Salad and the new Sensation Filet Sandwich meal, for a limited time, only at Zaxby's. And skip the line when you order ahead on the Zaxby's app or on Zaxby's.com.
From Tally to Cali,
it's time
to wake up.
Wake up, wake up. WarChant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up War Chant, presented by Zaxby's.
Now here's WarChant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! What up, everybody? It's Wake Up War Chant presented by Zaxby's. I'm Aslan. I'm back in Tallahassee. I'm excited about that. Corey Clark will be joining me shortly in Tallahassee. He's trucking down the road right now, coming down, Friday practice, and then we have Sunday media day. Corey, you're going to be back covering the team after a week covering remotely. You excited to get back into, quote, God's country?
Yeah, man, I'm excited to be out there for about an hour and a half in that heat, kind of soak it all up. I don't get to go to a sauna up here, so it's pretty sweet to go down there. And I like to sweat through my clothes.
Yeah.
And I've missed that the last couple of days. So it'll be good to be back out there later on today. Watching the boys practice and watching me just melt.
Yeah, fantastic.
It is an afternoon practice, right?
It is. It is with 2:15 pre-practice availability, and then 3 p.m. the media viewing period begins. Can't wait.
Sweet.
Yeah, so Corey's currently driving. He's on the phone. Deal with it. Bear with it, please, everybody. Speaking of this heat, Corey, I was thinking, you've sort of coined this pejorative yet endearing term for Boise State, the potato humpers, as you like to call them. And I was thinking,
right,
if Boise were to win, like maybe I will eat, I don't know, like an order of the tater chips from Zaxby's with the tongue torch sauce. But I don't know, that's a big order. Maybe just like one single chip with the tongue torch sauce. Because I'm not a big hot sauce guy, but I figure maybe that'll be paying sort of retribution to the football gods if they were to lose that game. And then things will get on track. It'll be funny if
I don't know, man.
Maybe.
I feel like either way, win or lose, you should be eating the potatoes. It's like don't Florida State fans eat gator tail sometimes the week of that game?
Yeah, good call. So, I'd say we could meet up at the tailgating spot out front of Doak, but this is not going to be a home game at Doak Campbell Stadium. So, all right, yeah, win or lose, we shall feast on the flesh of the potato. Fantastic.
We're just not going to hump them.
Yeah.
We leave that to them up in Boise. We don't do that stuff. We just eat them.
Those weird mountain dwellers. All right, so check it out. Yeah. Wednesday, or rather Thursday, was the last day at IMG Academy. Willie spoke to us. And that was a wrap on things. They practiced, but they just did teamwork, team period. So it was 7-on-7, 11-on-11, which has never been left open to the media. So we didn't get to watch any practice on Thursday. Spoke to Willie. Willie said the word love. He loves where his team is at, says that there hasn't been, quote, a boring practice. There hasn't been a single practice this season where they haven't gotten better from the day before. And, these are pretty, I don't want to say effusive praise, but the boring word that I need to find a synonym for, encouraging, it just continues to be sort of encouraging, positive messaging coming out of preseason camp, despite the one day that I said they didn't look good.
Sure. Encouraging, I guess. But who knows, right? It's not like he really ripped them at all last year, and we saw what that product ended up being. So, again, it's, how much is coach speak? How much can you really look into it? Who knows? It's good. I mean, it's better than the alternative of him just being like, look, guys, I thought you thought last year was bad. Hold on to your butts because it's about to get really ugly. It'd be rough. You wouldn't want to hear that. So it's good that he's saying that. And it's good that he probably believes it. But, again, as I've said many a time, it's kind of prove it time, right? It's not tell me about it. You got to prove that this is a team worth loving.
Yeah, I think they got 12 practices down. They only have 8 left in the preseason before they commence game week. So it's starting to get real, and hopefully we'll see some more tangible things, and we get to judge with our eyes and less so with our ears. Also want to send a shout-out to Brad. So I visited my brother's shop. He's got like a wine and liquor place that he's a GM for. I had to stock up. Might be a long season. And apparently he's a fan of the program, Corey. So he listened to the show. He told me to tell you what's up.
Good. What's up, Brad?
He wasn't
B-Dog?
He wasn't too down on, he wasn't, he gets where I'm coming from on things. And I'm like, yeah, they've been looking good. And he's like, well, what about the day you said they false started a bunch of times? I'm a little bit worried about that. I'm like, it's the Corey Clark corollary. So we only get to see, 13% of practice. They probably ended up turning it up towards the end of it. And I also saw on Wednesday, Ira and I were wrapping up interviews, and a gentleman walked out of his car at IMG and is like, just got done listening to you. And I'm like, oh, cool, thanks, man. He's like, I kind of wonder why I'm even here after listening to the episode yesterday. But, he was funny about it, So it's good when people have a sense of humor about not hearing maybe the most glowing reports from their team. But, again, we weren't able to watch practice Thursday. They'll practice later today on Friday. As you're listening to this, we'll get to watch some of that, we hope. Saturday, it's closed to us, but they'll be scrimmaging. Otherwise, on Thursday, what he basically said was, to the point that he likes what he's seeing from the team. Had a lot of praise from the freshman class, talked about their jumping in, buying into the culture. Malcolm Ray, who I think was like the Dade County Player of the Year, I think he's from Carroll City High School. I should probably check that before I say it. I don't want to get our folks in Miami upset. But it had been making a strong case for, showing what he's about and maybe pushing for some playing time. Has missed some practice here lately. Apparently somebody on the board said it might be a grade-related issue, but Willie said that he hasn't been practicing due to a lower leg injury. Josh Kando is another guy that had been missing some time as we were out there at IMG. Willie said that simply, they're kind of, I don't want to say pitch count, was saying that he's been getting some reps after the media has left. It's all about making sure he's ready on August 31st, which made me want to follow up and ask about Marvin, but we were wrapped up at that point. So Josh Kando has been practicing, limited reps, should be ready for the 31st. And we did the roundtable thing, and now I'm trying to think, because I said, we were asked on the roundtable, who's going to step up for Brian Burns? And I was like, if Josh Kando isn't leading this team in quarterback pressures and hurries from the defensive line, it'll be the biggest shocker to me of the season. And that has already been proven wrong, I think, because we haven't seen much from him, so I don't really know how much to expect from him. Can do Kando this year for you, Corey?
Man, I'm getting worried because he's missing so much preseason. Now, normally you wouldn't with a junior. He's been around. He's played plenty of games. Now, he hasn't done a ton in those games, but he's played plenty of snaps in his career at Florida State. But he's in a different position now. And, he's never stood up before. Now that's kind of going to be his role, and he's not getting reps. He's not getting the reps he should. So if he doesn't get back soon to 100% where he can let it loose, then you wonder, okay, how effective can he be for Boise? If he's even going to be out there. I mean, we assume he's going to be out there, but how effective is he going to be? What kind of shape is he going to be in? He just, that's somebody that I think you need to get out there soon because I think he can be a pretty big deal for this defense. He's long. He's really tall. Quarterbacks aren't used to having to throw around windows or throw around guys like that in the windows. I I think it could be an awkward look for a quarterback. I mean, how many 6'7" guys are running out in the flat? I mean, look to try to get it around him or over him. And he can move. But if he's not out there, I guess none of that matters.
Well said, Corey. With that said, let's get back to the questions. Second part of Renegade Express. This question comes from 85 Noel. I'm pretty sure he tweeted at us as well because he threatened to take a demerit from us. He apparently gave us a 5-star review, but said he'd give us a 4-star if we didn't give him the information. I think it's the same person. He wants to know. He wants to know the real story on Greg Frey. Why didn't it work? What was going on behind the scenes? How was it this bad? Players, philosophy, attitude, the real story, specifics. So it's pretty strong question.
So he's acting like there's like maybe something that that's hidden that we didn't say that would be the reason he got axed. And I think the real reason, sometimes it's, I like to say Occam's razor.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever seen Contact, that movie, but sometimes that's the only reason I know it. I'm not a physicist. But sometimes the simplest explanation is the correct one. And essentially it was, man, they wanted Kendall Briles. And to get Kendall Briles, you needed Randy Clements. That seems like that was a no doubt, I'm not coming unless you let me get Randy Clements type of situation there. Kendall Briles essentially has said as much when we talked to him last week. So I think it's that. I don't think there was anything nefarious. I think you had a guy that had not worked before with Willie Taggart. Well, it was just a bad marriage, man. It was a bad marriage of a head coach that called all the plays, with an offensive coordinator that he had never worked with before, with an offensive line coach he had never worked with before, and none of them had worked with each other. They did not work well together, quite obviously. But I don't think we throw that at the hands of Greg Frey, man. I mean, he didn't have a lot of talent. He wasn't left really anything. And his best player got hurt and played like 3 games, and now is at Alabama. So he didn't have a lot of talent to use. He had almost no experience except for Everly, who, again, was a hard-working guy, but he wasn't anything special. So Greg Frey was put in a really bad spot. He did not do well with it, but he was put in a bad spot. And he also, when you're Willie Taggart, it's like, okay, man, even if you don't think everything last year was Greg Frey's fault, which I don't think anybody would, I want Kendall Briles. And if Kendall Briles says I need to fire Greg Frey so I can hire his buddy and the guy that he works really well with, sorry, Greg, it's a business. I got to win now. And so I'm getting Kendall Briles and Randy Clements, and I appreciate the effort. I think it's as simple as that, right?
Yeah, I think people, again, they want to think there's some sort of nefarious thing going on, or we have some inside information that we're sitting on. People would sort of intimate that maybe he wasn't the most beloved offensive line coach. But then again, look who he replaced. I think because that was when Dickerson went into the portal, but then Dickerson pulled himself out of the portal shortly thereafter when Frey was let go. So that kind of fed a little bit into that narrative. But no, I don't know any players' parents to have been spoken to them and heard of their thoughts on Greg Frey. None of the offensive linemen were like, well, thank God he's gone. Randy's so much better. But yeah, just one of those things. I think Occam's razor is a good thing to cite, Corey. Way to bump up the IQ on this program. I like it.
I'm trying, baby. I don't know who Occam was. I'm really not even. I don't have any clue what a razor. I know what a razor is, but not in the context of like a theory. That's a weird term. It should just be Occam's theorem. Yeah. Instead of Occam's razor. That's a weird term, but I saw Contact 20 years ago, and they mentioned it a lot. I would also say, Greg Frey has proven that he can coach offensive linemen. Again, I don't think it was anything like Willie Taggart going, good grief, this guy's terrible. I just wasn't that. It was they didn't work well together. Those two didn't, and Walt Bell in the mix. Obviously, that was a disaster last year. But more than anything, I think it had to do with, we all know it was Randy Clements. I don't think there was anything behind the scenes other than the time that Greg Frey hit Willie with nunchucks. We talked about that on the show, didn't we? They got in that fight, and Greg Frey had the nunchucks. But other than that, I don't remember anything happening off the field that would have soured that relationship.
That was a joke, right, Corey? You're being facetious, correct?
See, sometimes I like Stephanie, who spends more time with me than anyone except Brady. Sometimes I'm so dry with my comments that she's like, really? And she's not that gullible a person, but she's like, you're so deadpan and serious that I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or not. Yeah. Which is what a great that's what great sarcasm is over the top, deadpan, and serious. But yes, that was a joke. Willie did not get hit with nunchucks.
P. Colonol 07, with much of the focus on the offense.
It was throwing stars. I think it was throwing stars.
Okay. Thanks for getting that in.
Sorry.
P. Colonol 07, with much of the focus on the offense and defense, rightfully so, and specifically individual position group battles, player performances, etc., it appears that there hasn't been much focus or discussion on our kicking game outside of comments and passing. Can you all provide any insight on how Aguayo and Tyler are looking? Has Tyler seemed to look like he picked up from 2018? Has Aguayo seemed to be more focused in on his accuracy as compared to leg strength, or both? Also, how is Fitz looking? For what it's worth, I'm a huge fan of Tyler's and think he should be considered a special teams captain. Kid is as no-blooded as one can get. Thanks in advance. It's the blessing and the curse. So we're able to watch practice much more so now, apparently, than what the previous regime allowed. And when the previous regime did allow it, it seemed to be special teams. When we're out there, by and large, we're not seeing any special teams going on. I think maybe in the close to 10 practices I've seen, I think they've only been doing special teams maybe 2 or 3 times while we've been there. And when they were kicking field goals, it was practically extra points. It wasn't anything from distance. We asked Ricky a few days ago what he's comfortable at right now. I think he said kicking from the 32 or the 33-yard line, which is 49 to 50, but he would feel fine kicking up to 55. Haven't seen Fitzgerald kick anything. Logan Tyler just fantastic human being, it seems, by all indications. To your point, he seems to be as no-blooded as one can get. His teammates have great praise, think that he would be most likely to be president out of anybody in that locker room. He just, in the one practice that we saw from punting, it just remained to be an inconsistent thing for him. He'll boom one and he'll hang up in the amount of time it would take you to toast a piece of bread. And then there's some times where it's a line drive and it's kind of squabbly. So consistency remains the thing that he seems to be searching after.
I would agree with that, yeah, but we've seen it before, man. Like, Kason Beatty wasn't, well, let's be honest, he wasn't good at all his first 2 or 3 years on campus. By his last year, he was a pretty darn good punter. Sean Powell wasn't anything special until his junior or senior year. So you can't take the step, and I do think Logan Tyler led the league last year in average. The problem, again, is it's not, with punting, it's not everybody kicks it far but these days. But most everybody has a lot of hang time. And Logan Tyler sometimes hits these line drives right down the middle of the field, where you'd rather him hit a 37-yarder that hangs up than a 49-yarder that's a bullet right down the middle of the field. I mean, you're kicking to some exceptional athletes, and you can't do that.
Next question comes from AKB726. Aslan, you've brought up the 3-4 switch in numerous interviews. I know you haven't seen much from practice, but what's your opinion on the success level we will have running it? Corey, nice goatee. Inside joke, he says. Either you know or you don't.
I assume that he's doing he's giving me a shout out from Just for Men.
Yeah,
yeah. But again, now how you did it right? Like, how often do I have to do it?
I don't. Well, I've got this whole beard thing going on. You just have a goatee. I'd say probably once every 3 weeks. You'd probably be fine doing it.
Okay, because Brady looked at it last night and was like, "Man, that gray's coming back pretty quick." And I'm like, "All right, man. Okay, do I need to?" He's like, "No, I like it gray." So I don't know, but yeah, I look and now it's like, "Oh man, it doesn't even look like I used it at all." And it was just 2 weeks ago. So I don't know. We'll see. I didn't know it'd be that much upkeep. I thought it was like once and I'm good for 6 months.
Yeah, no, not the case. But it's simple, man. You just
But I
paint
appreciate it. The goatee is looking great.
Yeah, you just paint it on. You wait 5 minutes. Just don't get scared. Like, you'll see it turn all sorts of weird colors, so don't get scared, man. Hang in the pocket.
Oh, I know. I got petrified. I'm like, I'm gonna have to shave this. It looks like shoe polish.
Yeah.
But yeah, it evened out. Kind of normal.
Opinion on the success level Florida State will have running the 3-4. Well, I mean, if Marvin's not going to be out there, which we don't know. I don't know. If he's out there, obviously, I feel better about it probably. I just think ultimately this is going to be a lot on the backs of the linebackers. I mean, like, can they tackle well in space? We like who they are athletically. We like Dontavius Jackson's ability to be physical at the point of attack. But they've never run it in a game situation. I know they're drilling it, and they're going to be running it in scrimmages here, and that's the closest thing you can get to it. I'm just concerned about stopping the run because they were just so bad against the run towards the end of last season. That was probably the biggest knock on the defense. I mean, they had their moments earlier in the season, but towards the end of the year, it was few and far between feeling good about anything. And I just feel like, what leaves you susceptible there in the 3-4, by and large, is run defense at times. It's the hardest thing to have the right personnel to stop it. So that's my biggest concern.
Yeah, but they're going to be bigger on defense. Weirdly, I think they're going to be bigger and faster. I don't know how. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but like if Kendo comes back, you have that dude as a linebacker. Your linemen are those three guys that all weigh 300 pounds plus. Last year, they could only get two of those out of the field at a time. And you also had Brian Burns, who, God love him, was the best player on the defense for a majority of the season, but, certainly isn't a physical specimen in the run game. He's a guy that's trying to race around the tackle and get to the quarterback, which can open up some lanes in the run game, and he wasn't terrific at setting the edge. Now you got bigger guys out there. So, I feel like they're going to be a little bit bigger, so that should help. In the linebackers they were running out there last year, whether it's Woodby or DeKalen Brooks, they've added some weight, and they're older, one more year experience. So you hope that they can stand up a little better to the run game, right?
Yeah, I'm just they got that PTSD from last year. We had so much optimism, about most everything going into the season. And to me, like the 3-4 feels like a too good to be true thing. Like there's no way this thing can work this well, this quickly. But when you look at it from a personnel standpoint, it all makes sense. Marvin, Robert Cooper taking up space in the middle, Corey Durden on the other end, and then Amari Gaynor, a guy like Kando. And if it's not Amari Gaynor, it's what you got? Maybe Hamza or Leonard Warner, and then you have Janarius or Kando on the other outside port, Buck, whatever they're calling it, Buck Star. And then on the inside, you have like Woodby and Dontavius Jackson. That's pretty good. That's pretty solid. Like, again, that seems like good talent, like physically gifted guys in positions that seem to fit their skill set. And if they all do their job, this thing should work. But it just, these things never happen that easily. I do wonder if, we'll still be talking about the 3-4 like going into 2020. Like, even if this thing gives like mixed results, will it be let's keep going with this, or would, Harlan revert to his sort of, his foundational stuff of going to a 4-3? But, just to see Josh Kando as an outside linebacker, standing up, I think will be cool enough. It'll be all worth it. And then Robert Cooper taking all these double teams. So we'll see. Right now, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'll be at a 6.5 right now. There's your optimism for you. Doak FSU 1. Good morning. I do believe Dante Lucas will be starting on the O-line week 1. Kid's going to baptize some Broncos. As far as linebacker, I can't wait to see Amari Gaynor. I really think he will turn heads. My question is, this transfer portal is getting out of hand. When was the first year of this portal? There has to be a better way for it to work. How would you go about fixing it? Well, it's only been, 1 year? 2 years?
1 year, right?
Yeah.
We've been doing it for 1 or 2 years.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't really have an answer. I guess my one count, and I don't like it. I'll be the first to admit it. I don't like what it does. I don't like the message it sends that if you're not starting as a freshman, I'm going to bounce. And sorry, I appreciate all you did for me in recruiting me, and I chose you, but it's been 6 months. I'm not enjoying my time. I'm going to go somewhere else. At the same time, coaches get to go at the drop of a hat. Assistant coaches move around all the time, not even just the head coaches. They all bounce around from job to job to job. Wherever that grass is greener, wherever the money is more, they go. So why would we not let the kids do the same thing? I mean, I don't like it. It's harder to keep up with. I think you have to re-recruit your kids every year. If they don't play a lot, you have to tell them, look, it's okay. This is the plan. So I feel like you have to keep recruiting. I mean, you mentioned Landon Dickerson. He did the hokey pokey with the thing. They had to end up recruiting that kid 3 times. When he got here, when he was going to leave the first time, and then when he actually did leave. So that can be annoying. But coaches are allowed to go at the drop of a hat, so players should too. Just, it's a different sport now.
I mean, I don't think there's a perfect way to do it, and I don't know really how out of hand it really is getting. I mean, you put your name in this, you go to compliance or whatever, you say you want to explore your options, you put your name in this database, and then it's kind of open game. You can see who still has interest in you, and if you're not comfortable where you're at and someone else is showing you interest, like, why shouldn't you be able to leave? I don't know.
I think the problem I have with it is the behind-the-scenes stuff. Like, and I'm not saying this happened, but is Miami calling up the kid at Ohio State as soon as Justin Fields commits and goes, "Hey man, what are you doing there? They recruited over you. Why don't you come to Coral Gables?" Like, before he even puts his name in the portal. Like, how much of that is going on where you have all these coaches calling other kids on other teams, trying to recruit them every year, every month, sending them a text, whatever it might be. I think this opens that up. But again, players getting the chance to go to enjoy their college career and actually go playing. I don't think they should be. There's no real right answer. I think sitting out a year, I've never quite understood that because coaches didn't have to. So why should players? But it just seems like it's, especially with quarterbacks, it's just become a different game. Where if you're not starting by your sophomore year, you're going somewhere else. That's just how it is. So. But what do you do? What could you do? I don't think kids should be punished for transferring until coaches are punished for transferring.
Well, I think you're kind of saying that it's the tampering aspect. I don't know how you ever can police tampering. It goes on at every level. I mean, the NBA tampers with free agents, and I'm sure coaches I mean, you can eliminate the transfer portal. That doesn't mean that coaches aren't DMing prospects as soon as Justin Fields commits, and then things happen that way. So it's showing you how the sausage is made. It's not going to look pretty, but ultimately, it's a good thing for the kids. If they can't get paid, at least let them have the freedom to move from university to university and not have to sit out for a year. Halfway home on this edition of Wake Up War Channel, let's take a quick break. Second half of the show is brought to you by Birch Orthodontics. For nearly 20 years, Birch Orthodontics has been providing world-class orthodontic care right here in Tallahassee. And they've been doing it with the kind of down-home customer service that keeps all of their clients smiling. Whether you or your loved one needs braces or Invisalign treatments, Dr. Heather Birch and her staff are trained in all of the latest techniques. And the best part is, they'll include you in every step of the decision-making process. They'll work with you to craft the perfect treatment plan and payment options to suit your needs. So if you're looking for family-friendly orthodontic care in a comfortable, stress-free environment, Birch Orthodontics isn't just your best choice, it's your only choice. Visit www.birchorthodontics.com. That's BURCH orthodontics.com for more information and to set up your free consultation today. Or you can call the office directly at 850-877-1692. 850-877-1692. Heisman 20, class of 2037 running back commit was born on August 13th. Solomon King
congratulations.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Congrats to Heisman. To Solomon King Zuokamefa. Solomon King. The wife let me name him after my grandpa since it was biblical, but I kind of want to name him Warwick Winston. Which current or former Knoll would you name your hypothetical kid after, and why?
Well, I named my kid after Brady Scott. So there's your answer right there. What about you? I don't have a hypothetical kid. I have a real kid. I would have gone with, if I was really going to, name a kid after a player, probably Charlie, I think.
Charlie Clark. Charlie Clark's strong.
I think that would have been my guy. Charlie Clark sounds okay, right?
I like Charlie Clark,
but we call him Charlie.
I like Charlie Clark a lot. Not as much as Brady Clark, but I like Charlie Clark a lot. He sounds like a really good guy.
Yeah.
If Charlie Clark was a person, you'd want to hang out with him.
Absolutely. Yeah. Brady Clark, not so much. But Charlie Clark would be the real deal.
All right. Shout out to you, Heisman. Solomon King
What about you? What's your answer?
I was going to say maybe Winston. I'd probably go something like Winston. Maybe it's Hamilton, after Coach Ham. Hamilton Hudjavandi. That's strong, right? Sounds like a really racially ambiguous, confused young man, Hamilton Hudjavandi. We'll go with that.
And everybody calls him Hambone.
There we go. Grumpy BK. Wake up, fellas. Have you seen anything in practice regarding special teams besides field goal kicking? Who's returning punts and kickoffs? Do we have any key players on punt, kickoff, or returns? Are they actually being taught field position decision-making, fair catch, downing, etc.? Again, we're not seeing a lot of special teams stuff when we're out there. Now that I go back and even think about it, the time that we did see special teams and we did see Logan Tyler punting was the first day of practice. I remember because a fan was commenting to me about what he thought about Logan Tyler's performance, and I was going back and forth with him. So that was literally the first day of practice, and that was the only time we saw some sort of extended glimpse into special teams. We do know it's all hands on deck. Snyder's the coordinator, if you will, but guys like Dugans are helping out with gunners. Tamorian Terry, I think, has been doing work at gunner. Asante Samuel, Akeem Dent. I don't know who's returning punts. I imagine it's still got to be DJ's job. DJ didn't do anything to lose it, and that single digit makes him look a lot better. So maybe that'll help springboard a couple more Miami-esque touchdown returns.
Yeah, that number 7 is smooth, man. I don't know what it is. Like the kid at Georgia, Swift, is the number 7. Mario Pinder, I know he didn't have a great career, but when he was healthy for those 7 minutes, he looked really smooth in the number 7. Christian Jones that 7 is a good number, man, for a football player. That's what DJ Matthews is wearing now. So yeah, DJ's, you got to assume. And when I watched it, he was taking reps, and so was Keyshawn Helton. So I think those would probably be your 2 main guys. I don't know if they're going to try to get one of the freshmen in the mix or not, but I think those are your two main guys.
I don't know who's on kickoff return, though. I mean, I know, Kalen, that's how his season came to an end last year, was on kickoff returns. I wonder if they'll put him back there. And then Anthony Grant did some stuff last year. That was a pretty big bit of a bummer, obviously. I think we've talked about it, but maybe I haven't talked about it enough. But of all the woes they had on special teams, not even so much the penalties and the not fair catching enough, but when they did get the ball in their hands, they never were able to bust anything. And you would figure they'd have somebody that would be able to keep special teams units somewhat honest and be a threat back there. But in terms of important people, key players on punt and kickoff, on returns, I guess maybe we'll get some information out of Willie. We can kind of ask him that maybe when we speak to him Sunday after the scrimmage. Maybe they'll have a better idea of who they want at those spots. But I mean, Tamori Terry's a gunner. DJ Matthews are pretty key players, I would say, helping out on special teams. Mr. Clutch _1992. Wake up! I listen to the show every morning on my 3-hour drive for work. Good Lord.
Thanks.
3-hour drive. Man.
All right, buddy. Mr. Clutch, the next time you write in, you got to tell us what you do and why it's a 3-hour drive. Holy moly.
Yeah. It's usually at
and I'm
about...
talking to a guy that's now driving back to work from Atlanta, so I'm used to 4.5, 5-hour drives, but not every day, just every week.
Usually at about 2 to 3 in the morning is when I would listen. Great shout-out on the 229, but don't forget how great Greg Reed was in his short time as a Knoll. I won't ever forget his first one against Miami that shifted the momentum. My question is, what former player that did not end up finishing their career as a Knoll did you guys hate to see go the most? Or who had the most untapped potential? Everybody would say Randy Moss, but I'm not sure he ever played it down at FSU. He didn't. Didn't even make it through spring. I would have to go with Greg after playing with him in high school. Also, I can buy beer at Doak now, but have to drink it in a supervised area? Why not just let folks take it to their seats? Keep up the hard work, fellas. P.S. For some reason, I think Corey would make a great Carl of Sling Blade impression. Let's hear it, Corey.
I don't have one of those. I can French fried taters. How'd that sound? All right. Mm-hmm. French fried. That's all I can do.
All right. That's a winner.
People, by the way, that's a movie from 25 years ago. They kind of made Billy Bob Thornton a star, and it's really good. It's really good. I don't know how many people listen to this have seen it. He's awesome in it. Dwight Yoakam is awesome in it. It's a really good movie. The quarterback from Friday Night Lights, the movie, is the little kid that he befriends. Anyway, it's good. Sling Blade. Some people call it a Kaiser Blade. I call it a Sling Blade. Nope, I can't do it. I'm gonna have to stick with my Liam Neeson. I don't have Billy Bob Thornton. I don't have the Sling Blade impression down. I would say Greg Reed is a good one, man. He was and Jimbo loved that dude. He really went to bat for him a lot. And it's good that he's making money playing football. He's I guess one of the better players in the CFL. I'm surprised he never got a real look in the NFL because of his punt returning ability, but he never really did. I would also say Rock Preston played with Warwick Dunn, was probably the best backup running back in the country for 3 years, and then, he essentially, if I remember correctly, flunked out of school when he was going to be the senior tailback in '97, the year that Travis Minor came in. Rock Preston would have been the senior that year, but instead I think transferred to like Carson Newman or some Division II school, and he didn't get to be the first team running back. Finally, Warwick Dunn left. It was going to be his time to shine, and he wasn't there. So that's the first one off the top of my head.
Oh, man, like most untapped potential, like that would make me think of like Xavier Lee. Like Xavier Lee, the Randall Cunningham of quarterback, was he too far ahead of his time? Like imagine Xavier Lee running this like up-tempo, no-huddle stuff, although it seems like it wasn't the physical tools, it was trying to make it all happen.
I was going to say, you'd still have to care no matter what offense you're playing and practice it in. You still have to like try to learn it and be good at it. And practice hard, which apparently wasn't Xavier's, best attribute.
I can't go that far back to pull a rock press. I would probably say Preston Parker. Like Preston Parker was like the only thing we had that one season to feel good about. And to lose him the way we lost him, what was it? He was stoned in a drive-thru or something like that. That was a bit of a bummer. And he actually was in the league for a minute. I think he was with the Giants for a season. But that was a couple.
I think he played a couple seasons in the league.
Yeah,
and was pretty good in the league. And he was was it 2008 or 2009? I think it was 9 maybe. Like there was one game where they lined him up at tailback.
Yeah,
because everybody else was hurt, and that dude ran like he was Jim Brown. I mean, he was awesome. He hit holes hard. I mean, he was just a football player. And he's the one guy, if people remember, that Jimbo pointed to when he got his first spring in Tallahassee. It was like, yep, that guy could have played with me at LSU. He was like the only guy on the whole offense that he knew for sure would have played at LSU for him.
Yeah. And the crazy thing was,
that's a good one. Preston Parker's a good one.
He was like a 4-star, but he kind of just came out of nowhere in terms of his commitment. I didn't really think he was going to be much of a contributor. I remember a lot of people kind of like razzed him. I think he wanted to be a drama major or something like that. People were like, great. And I'm like, yeah, what's this kid going to end up being? And then sure enough, he was the best offensive weapon in his short time at Florida State. So next question comes from Souza_ZP. Wake up. Lucas looks like a demon. Scary to line up with. Maybe not start the Boise game, but through the season he will be with the ones at some point. Hypothetical question. What would have Zaquandre White done with the Briles offense? Even though he was dismissed from the university, he still has one of the craziest high school highlight films I've ever seen. Much love, boys. Keep that fire content going. That's you, Corey. Keep that fire content going.
And they've had, I know at Baylor, they had some guys that were bigger running backs. What was it? Oh, I'm forgetting this. I can't remember his name. Yeah,
Lashisi Strunk, yeah.
Yeah, I think he was a pretty big guy. He was kind of Zaquandre's size, I think, and he ran for a gazillion yards. I think he would have done well. I mean, it all depends really on the offensive line more than anything, but also, he might have done well, but was he going to beat out Akers and Kalen? I don't know about that. So I don't know how much he was going to play anyway. No matter how good a fit it was for him, I don't think he's as good as the two guys in front of him. But I could be wrong.
Did he end up at Arkansas? I feel like he ended up at Arkansas. I think he's going to have to sit out. I don't think he got I think he's at Arkansas.
Did he really? He's at Arkansas?
He was at Iowa Western. Let me see here. That's all his bio says right now is Iowa Western. I could have sworn. I think maybe he got an offer to Arkansas, but he is not part of that program right now. But, yeah, I don't know. Of all the things that I've pondered here in the last year, I probably haven't thought about what Zaquandre Wright's up to. Nothing against the kid. I hope it all works out for him. All right, next question. C-Swizzle8. Wake up. It's Casey. I'm from here in Tallahassee. A few famous people from Tally include T-Pain, Florida State's own Antonio Cromartie. He's a Lincoln alum just like myself. My question, what do you think our first offensive play will be and with whom? I think it'll be a play-action bomb to Tamorrion Terry for a touchdown. Don't mind my Kool-Aid sipping optimism. I hope Scary Terry is back and healthy from injury. Go Noles. First play. Read option, slant to Keyshawn Helton.
That's what I was going to say. I don't know if it'll be a read option. I think it might just be catch the snap and throw it out to him wide and let him go try to make a play. I think that's your first play. You're setting up Terry for like the second or third play. You get that first down, you get your first down. That's my call, is after they get their first down of the game, which hopefully is sometime in the first quarter, at least the first half. But once they get that first down of the game, the very next play, you're taking a shot to 15. If he's healthy, which, hopefully he is.
I like it. Let's see here. Next question. Big Steve-O 22. He's been here since 2008 on War Chant. He's only posted 7 times. He doesn't have any likes. I'm going to give him a like. There you go, Big Steve-O.
There you go. Good job.
Welcome to the show. Wake up! In regards to the beer sales, I kind of can understand why they wouldn't allow it in the stands. I remember going to FSU Ole Miss with my wife when she was pregnant and had drunk guys almost fall on her and spill beer on her. which if that happened, I would have went all Aslan on them. I'm a verb now. You see that? That's
Aslan and South Bend.
That's great.
South Bend Aslan.
Yeah. So maybe it is to prevent stuff like that. On the other side, there is nothing like having a cold one while watching a live sporting event. Since we were pretty much through the first half of fall camp, how would you grade the offense, defense, special teams, coaching? Who has been your camp MVP? Who has underwhelmed? I understand that this is all based on your limited access. Woohoo! That's a good question.
My camp MVP is Keyshawn Helton.
Okay.
I just love that dude. I love every rep I see him take. I love the way he interacts with his teammates. I love that he holds them accountable. That guy, I just think has a chance, man, to be something. So that's my MVP. I don't know who's underwhelmed. Maybe Tamorian Terry is underwhelmed. I haven't seen that dude do a thing.
Seriously, do something. Come on, Tamorian. It's placard. It's plastered everywhere, man. Do something. Grade the offense. I mean, we haven't seen them do any 11-on-11 stuff outside of that first day, so it's kind of hard to grade them on that. Offense, though, I mean, I would say a B, just because there has been a crispness. There's been a sort of rhyme and a reason, the rhythm and the pace that they've been going from drill to drill, and what we see them working on a day-to-day basis. Hearing the feedback, you hear Dugans yelling out, great catch. You hear Kendall yelling out, great route, great ball, Black. You hear Randy Clemens saying, "Attaboy, that's the way to do it." It seems like I would give it an above average mark, so I would say a B. Defensively, I don't really spend a lot of time on the defensive side of the field. Usually in Austin, the interns out there filming that side of the ball. They're working on this. They've been doing a lot of the same stuff we saw last year. Maybe I'll put them at a C just to stay on character and on brand and be skeptical. I'll say that's a C. Special teams, I'm not even going to gander anything because we haven't seen enough of it. Coaching overall, I'll say a B. Again, I think just the infusion of Dugans, Briles, Clements has been a really. You see the offense there's just a better sort of efficiency. It seems the way they're working through things, and then defensively, for all my teeth gnashing and hand wringing about them being a man down, when we've seen them in certain portions of practice in the periods, they're getting a lot of individual attention. Raymond Woody and Snyder are pretty much. Mark Snyder's working with linebackers and defensive linemen to a certain degree. Joe Bone, the GA, is working with those outside guys. Odell's working with your interior guys, your bigger-bodied guys, your Durdens, your Wilsons, your Coopers. And then Harlan Barnett's working with the defensive backs. And, Mario Edwards is out there kind of doing what he's allowed to do to a certain degree. So there's a lot of individual attention going on out there. So it does look good. Camp MVP, I'll say Kendall Briles. I'm sure a lot of the things they've done on offense have been because of him. So he's the real MVP, I will say. Underwhelmed, I'm not going to go that route. I'm not going to be skeptical. I'm not going to be cynical. I'm not going to do it. Not going to do it. Not going to do it.
Plus, also, let's be honest, though, a camp MVP through 2 weeks is like what? That's like being the most honest person in prison. It doesn't matter. Nothing they're doing right now in the eyes of the fans, really, or what we're saying, none of it is going to matter if they go out and get pounded by Boise. It's just not. So it's better to answer that question 3 or 4 weeks into the season. I get why I was asked. I'm not dismissing the question or poo-pooing it. I'm just saying that it's none of it, like you talked about yesterday, how excited we were going into that Virginia Tech game last year, and then how not excited we were as we were recording that show the next day. That's just, we can only glean so much. And only so much of it matters. It just doesn't really matter perspective-wise until we see it on the field on a Saturday night.
What about Andy Dufresne? He was a good, honest man in prison. I'd be Andy Dufresne.
He was still in prison.
Yeah.
Nobody believed him. Yeah. The warden believed him, finally, and look what Warden did to the kid that passed his GED. Had him shot for escape. Oh, but spoiler alert, folks. Sorry about that. Spoiler alert for Shawshank.
Okay, C_Noel_92. He's back, man.
I have a trivia question for you.
All right, let it rip.
So that obviously the name of that story, it was written by Stephen King. It was called, I think it was Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption was the name of his short story. So we know that Rita Hayworth is the first person he puts on his wall, his first poster. Who was the poster that the warden called? What's say you, Miss Fussy Britches? When he actually escaped, who was the poster on his cell wall?
Sweet Britches. Let's ask Sweet Britches over here if she knows.
Yeah, well, he calls her. I think he calls her Fussy Britches.
Fuzzy Britches. What is your level of confidence that I know the answer?
I would say 45%, 40%.
All right. Raquel Welch.
Wow, look at you. Did you just look that up?
No, I know that. That's an iconic image. It's from, what is it, from like Planet of the Apes or some movie? I mean, dude, Raquel Welch
like holy moly.
is the goods.
Holy moly.
She
is an all-timer.
Woo. Woo. All right.
I mean, Andy Dufresne knew what was going on, even back in Shawshank Prison.
He did, man. All right, C_Noel_92. He's the student that used the promo code and then told us about using Eastbound and Down, but gave us no real reason of how he was going to use it. Starts off with, well, joke's on me, coming up with an idea that has already been implemented. Oh, so he was telling us that should be an idea, but it started last year, Chad. I'll be honest.
Oh, yeah. Well, we don't know if it's going to continue. Hopefully it will.
Chad says, I'll be honest, I was long gone by the time the fourth quarter rolled around last season, so I wouldn't have known. I wanted to actually enjoy game day somewhat. Hopefully it becomes tradition. To answer your questions, 92 is the year I was born. I'm currently finishing up grad school. Let's just say that Tally got the best of younger Chad. I took the scenic route, so to say. As for the extra D in my name, I honestly cannot tell you why my parents did it. I have never really asked them why and just took it as is. I assume to be different from the million other embarrassments the world refers to as Chads. See Urban Dictionary for reference. So, okay.
Yeah, Chads are, nothing against Chads, and this Chad sounds great, but he's also got two Ds, so maybe they're built differently. Yep. But Chads in large, you're like, I don't know that I want to be friends with a guy named Chad.
Starting quarterback in my high school.
Have you ever been friends with a Chad?
Yeah, there's a long time TV newsman in the Clearwater area, Al Ruschel, and his son was Chad, and we were in elementary school together. He was a good kid, Chad. Yeah, I was friends with him. And then the starting quarterback, when I was like a sophomore, he actually ended up going to Bucknell. He was a Chad, good-looking guy, like surfer-looking dude, spiky blonde hair.
Chad for you.
Yeah, he was an epitome of a Chad. But he seemed like an okay guy. It didn't bother me. But yeah,
are kids still being named Chad? It was pretty popular when I was a kid.
Yeah, is it Chadwick? Is it nickname for? Is it like Chuck and Charles? Is Chad short for something else?
I mean, I don't know. Chad with two D's, I don't think can be short for anything else. Maybe Chadrick.
Yeah.
But Chadwick, there's Chadwick Boseman. I guess is he a Chad? I think they just call him Chadwick.
Chad. Let's go back to Wakanda, Chad. All right, Amstaff Knoll. I'm currently from McKinney, Texas, but originally from Niceville, Florida, home of the great Kenny Felder, Kevin Knox, Julian Pittman, and current director of recruiting, Deontay Sheffield. Also home of Blue Mountain State legendary middle linebacker Thad Castle. Fellas, 3 questions. 1, Bryles commented on being light on wide receiver scholarships. Do you think he's planning on running out a 10-wide formation at some point? Maybe 9 wide because we need someone to snap it, I guess? I did find that interesting. The one time you guys spoke to him, the only time we've spoke to him, I wasn't there, you were there. He made mention about the scholarship numbers at wide receiver maybe not being where they need it to be. But good grief, like what else do you want? Kendall, you make 7 figures a year and you've got Tomorian, you got Keyshawn, you've got DJ, Keith Gavin, Warren Thompson. What else do you want? DeMarcus Adams?
Harrison?
Yeah.
Trayshawn Harrison, DeMarcus Adams. Yeah, man, you got. That's why I asked, is because it seems like he's got 7 or 8 guys that can really play, and he's like, no, we're light on numbers. Well, it's like, all right, man, my bad. I thought that was, I guess you could have 12 or 13 scholarship wide receivers. Seems like 8 or 9 is pretty good. And Dorian Pokey Wilson, he's good. Yeah. He's made some plays in camp too.
Yeah, Ontario. Give you respect. I feel like we're leaving somebody else off, but yeah, there's a bunch of good guys. Second question: will Willie Taggart get his first spiked baseball this year? In case you folks don't know, it's a somewhat of a long-time tradition, right? Baseball director of operations, big shooter. Why am I forgetting his name right now? It's terrible.
Chip Baker.
Chip Baker. I'm sorry, Chip. So Chip Baker would hammer a nail through a baseball and give it to Mickey whenever the defense would pitch a shutout. So will Willie Taggart get his first spiked baseball this year? I'm going to go ahead and say no.
I'm going to say no as well. Shutouts are really hard to come by in 2019, especially when the other team might have 14 or 15 possessions. I feel like they're going to score on a few of them.
Yeah.
So no, the answer will be no, I think.
Yeah, what happens when you win 63-7? You're supposed to feel bad about that as opposed to winning 21-0? I don't know. Third question. I read where last year on first and second down rushes we gained a total of 2 net yards before contact all year. Not 2 yards on average, which is still god-awful, but legit, only 2 total yards. That can't be real. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, David Hale from ESPN tweeted about it. I think the next closest was like in the 300s.
Oh, my God.
And Florida State's net was 2 yards for first and second down design runs. First and second down design runs. They had 2 net yards before contact.
Oh, my God.
So, but I would say this: I don't know the methodology of how this is figured out. But what if Cam Akers had one run where he went through? There had to be one hole last year where Cam Akers went through a hole and had 7 yards before somebody contacted him. I just can't imagine that did not happen. I think what it is, all those other times though, so he had one that was a 9-yard gain before somebody contacted him. Well, then the next 3 runs, he might have been contacted 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage each time. You know what I mean? So that's still it's a -3.
That's crazy.
But I can't. I mean, so I just there's no way that they only had one run all season on first and second down where they got 2 yards before getting contact. But it's still unbelievable. No matter how you slice it up and how it's figured out, when the next closest is like 220 or 240, and you're at 2. Eesh.
This got Amstaff Knoll to thinking. If our offensive line was that historically bad, could it have been any worse? With this lineup all year, do we gain a first down, a touchdown? Do we win a single game? Gene Williams left tackle, Michael Langston left guard, Ira Schofel center, Corey Clark right guard, Aslan right tackle. Could have been worse. That could have been it.
Yeah, it definitely could have been worse. I don't see how we. I think what I do think would have happened though is if those are those 5, and Greg Frey is like, what? This is who I'm coaching. Like I got to coach these guys. I think he goes to Willie Taggart number 1 and quits, so he doesn't have to get fired after the season. But also maybe they work around us a little bit better. They're like, look, we can't hold our blocks for more than half a second. Corey Clark keeps getting shoved 35 yards in the backfield. He is literally running away from the tackle as the ball is snapped, trying to get to the sideline. So let's call some short, quick throws. So maybe they tailor the offense to the skill players a little bit better. I don't know. Just a thought.
Yeah.
You can still throw it up to Terry on every play.
Exactly. We would just flush James to the right, and then everybody, like Gene and Michael on the left side, they just pull. We all just run to the right side, and we just have a moving pocket, and James takes 4 strides to his right and just throws it up to Terry. We'll get a couple first downs, we'll get a couple PIs, and eventually we'll get a touchdown. It'll happen. It would happen.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, we're all rolling to the right. We're moving the pocket.
That's stat. Good Lord. And that'll sit with you.
You should look it up if you get a chance. I mean, he tweets a ton, so you're going to have to go back a ways. It was a couple days ago, but it's pretty remarkable.
Yeah. I think I saw – I don't know if I saw him tweet it. I don't know if he was the author of it, but apparently I think he did. There's a story in New York Magazine about Dabo being the real true villain in college sports right now. Or at least football.
Evil. No, Hale didn't write that. Will Leach, I think, the guy that created Deadspin, wrote it. And it's just nonsensical. Just nonsensical. I get that Dabo has said some very regrettable things, but come on, man. It's just, it's what happens when you're on top. That's going to happen.
Yeah, let's see here. Florida State.
The whole Kelly Bryant thing that we don't have to get into again, but the whole Kelly Bryant thing. And he was just wrong. If you read it, Will Leach was just wrong on half of it. He talked about how he was thrown to the curb, and it's like, well, no, Dabo reached out to him. Dabo was going to tailor the whole season around him so he wouldn't burn his red shirt. It was just like he just wrote him off as soon as he left.
All right, so
but
the
anyway,
stat.
No, we don't need to get in that.
So rush yards before first contact on first and second down designed runs versus FBS teams. Georgia Tech number one in the country with 1,934 yards before first contact on their first and second down design runs versus FBS teams. 1,934. Florida State 130th out of 130 teams. The average is 798 yards rushing before your first contact on first and second down versus FBS teams on designed runs. Florida State 2. That is insane. I only ran for 2 yards less than they did. FSU had 253 designed runs versus FBS teams on first and second down. They miraculously averaged 3.36 yards per carry, but 848 out of their 850 yards came after contact. I literally refreshed my browser and looked again because I figured that could not be right. It might be the craziest stat I've ever seen. He says, I agree. That's where Greg Frey is. It all comes full circle. Time's a flat line or whatever. 85 null. That's why Greg Frey's no longer here. Good Lord. That's unfair. That's unfair. All right, 2 more questions. Let's get to it. Drill Sergeant Porter just joined War Chant on Thursday. This is his first message. Welcome, Drill Sergeant Porter. Hope we see you here for more than just 1 month to get your free Adidas card. Use the promo code Adidas, 25% off a membership and a $75 e-card to use on Adidas.com. Love the show, guys. Good conversation about home and home games. I think a good one would have been against Texas A&M starting this year or even in about 7 years when Jimbo has deja vu with the program ending like ours. Anyway, my question, almost impossible to answer, and that is, who do you want to see victorious Saturday the 24th between those 2 other Florida schools with orange and their color scheme? Thanks, and as always, go Noles. Miami. Yeah. Miami.
I was thinking about that. Yeah, I knew you'd say Miami. You want Miami to win.
Yeah. ACC, buddy. Yeah. ACC, man. Fidelity to the conference.
Right, sure. ACC pride. I got you. I wonder. I assume most people. I would say what? I might do a Twitter poll before the Friday before they play, just to get a feeler, a taste test of what how the fan base thinks. But I would say it's probably 65 to 70% would probably root for Miami. But I know most people would have a joke like maybe a meteor hits the stadium, but then you have a lot of innocent people in Orlando that probably suffered from that. Plus, I guess wouldn't we all die if a huge meteor hit Orlando eventually? So yeah, I would think most Florida State fans would probably Florida lose, right?
I think
but also,
somebody.
Wouldn't you want you compete. I don't know. Miami's in the same conference, so you don't want them to all of a sudden get really good. So yeah, you really can't win there.
No, I can't stand Florida. Florida loses in everything. I made a flow chart once. That basically, this kind of doesn't apply because you hate both of these teams. But it's like, when is it okay to root for your rival? The only time it's good to root for your rival or okay to is when them winning puts you into the playoff. It's the only time. But again, these are 2 rivals going at it, so it doesn't really apply, and it's this early in the season. To which point, yeah, let's have Florida lose. If I think the argument some people are making that if Miami wins, Manny Diaz's first game out the gates, it kind of gives them a lot of momentum, and the bloom won't fall off the rose until maybe November at best if you're Florida State and you get your crack at them, but I don't buy that. Let Florida lose now. Florida's already kind of got some bad headlines going around them this offseason. Guys not getting eligible, guys transferring out, guys getting injured. Dan Mullen said some stuff about abuse towards women, which people didn't think was strong enough. So, yeah, let them lose. Let them fall into disarray, knock one leg off the stool, and then go from there. That's what
Plus, it helps Florida State. I know they play both, but you want Miami's you want the strength of schedule to be a little bit better, and you know that it'd be good for the ACC to get a big win over an SEC rival like that.
Yeah.
Because Florida State, they might be trying to sneak into the playoff. And so they're going to want to have that big win over Miami, who beat Florida.
Last question comes from B. Morial 66 or Morial. I don't know how to pronounce your last name, B. I apologize. His name's Brett. He says, "Wake up." He's from South Florida. Listen to you guys every morning on the way to work and appreciate you keeping us connected with the program. He joined August 7th. This is his first post. Welcome. Welcome. I wonder if he's a Mario Lemieux fan going with 66. I would think so. Question. What's the update on Marvin Wilson? Also, how do you think the linebackers adjust to the 3-4? Do you see Dontavius Jackson having a breakout big impact year? We don't know any update on Marvin other than what we were told earlier in the week. Again, I did mention it kind of in passing, but apparently someone, one of Ira's sources said that, made it sound like Marvin's okay. I mean, we didn't get any. I don't know if okay means he'll be ready for Boise, but you would assume that that's what he's going to be okay means. We'll probably, I'm sure somebody will ask Willie during Media Day on Sunday. Check out warchant.com. We'll have the updates on that. And how do we think the linebackers will adjust to the 3-4? We kind of touched on that a little bit earlier. Do you see Dontavius Jackson having a breakout big impact year? I know that's a
I don't know about
tough
breakout.
thing.
I don't know he's going to have a breakout year.
Yeah. No, I mean,
I think you should lead him in tackles.
That would be a good thing, right? If he's your inside linebacker.
Yeah,
we'll say that. Because, Hamza was a leading tackler last year, I think, or up there, right?
He was. Hamza led. Dontavius was second. I think Dontavius will lead him in tackles if he's healthy. I think he's a solid to good college linebacker. I really do. So hopefully this frees him up and Jaden up to make more plays. Is I guess the thinking and the rationale behind it. But I don't. He's a senior. It's not often that seniors have breakout. Like if he was going to be a breakout All-American, I feel like we would have seen that by now, that kind of potential. But he's a good player. There's nothing wrong with good players. This program needs as many as they can get, and I think he's one of them.
I do wonder. I just think pass protection is never going to be his thing. And I just wonder if he'll be exposed on that to the degree to where maybe he won't be appreciated for what he does in run support. Because it feels like that's his game. Right?
Pass coverage?
Yeah, pass coverage, sorry.
Coverage skills?
Yeah, sorry. I'm starving right now. I need to get some Zaxby's in me. But yeah, I do. That's the only concern I would kind of maybe have of him not having, quote, like a big impact year, that maybe there's lapses in coverage that people, circle and remember, as opposed to him maybe making a couple good tackles and stops. But we'll see. Soon enough. They got 8 more practices for the preseason, and then they'll get into game week preparations for Boise. Maybe we'll have somebody from Boise State join us on the show here in the coming days to talk about that game and preview. We'll do all that sort of stuff. Corey, we're done for the week, man.
That's a good idea.
I can't wait to see you.
We did it, man. Another one down. I'm going to see you later today in practice.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see you either, buddy. It's been too long. And then once we start next week, won't we be in the official first week of college football? Because Florida and Miami will play the end of next week.
Yes, it's here.
It's here, man. You can taste it.
And I feel
right
like
around the corner, folks.
And I feel like us not counting down and talking about it like that has made it come by quicker, I think when you sit there and you're like, hey, man, we're only 74 days away. It's like, oh, geez. We didn't say any of that. And then now here we are. So that's good. As always, everybody, thank you so much for listening. He's Corey Maslon. Check out warchant.com for the latest on Florida State athletics. Have a great one, everybody.
Warchant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. And now you can get in on the action for free for an entire month. Warchant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription. Get full access to the #1 website covering the Seminoles just by entering the promo code WARCHANT30. That's WARCHANT30. Sign up and get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code WARCHANT30. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.